Hello there, welcome to day 246. I hope my last post was coherent. I was very tired when I made it. I don't even remember what the last one was. I'm trying to crank these out. I'm in school now. It's very challenging to put these together. I anticipated the project and schooling to dovetail, not necessarily overlap. So that's been a challenge, but it's a work in progress. We're actually almost done. Um, over 100 or so days left, and we're just moving right along. But together, I know we can do it. 365 days. I'll be glad when it's over, but it's very important. Listen, we got 100 more so topics to discuss, and we definitely got the material with which to crush it. I'm Thomas Nyback. This is 365 days towards racial change. We're talking about black issues, how blacks get along, our education, finances, communities, stuff. We're going to be talking a lot about community here and there, not necessarily focus, but it's going to come up a lot in the next couple days, so stay tuned. But first, speaking of first, I forgot my monthly first since I'm cranking these out ahead of time. So we're going to do that today, actually. It's going to be the second, but, better late than never. Black folks, if we ever, really come together as a group, if we don't have our billionaire rap hip hop stars talking about, trying to, bury the hatchet and all that stuff, if we could, from a group from the top down economically, we're going to be dangerous. But we've talked almost a full year about why that's a challenge within and without, pressures from without, our own uh, issues within. A lot of forces at work, and they're very interested in not seeing black people participate equally and openly as other groups. You know, fortunately, we can have a forum like this, plenty other places to talk about that. On that note, I'm concerned about the black mind, about its level of interest, genuine interest in what's going on in America, on American shores. Black people, um, you know, understanding their position. You know, I wonder. I was 50 years old. You know, before I came to some understanding about about the insidiousness, about the particulars of what this black and white thing in America. You know, and as I get into this material and my eyes are open, I'm having like this born again racial experience in America, where I can see, you know, I thought my age would be a factor and all that stuff, but I'm not realizing the first factor in America, and that is the color line. From time immemorial to the creation of this nation, it's been a color line to determine uh, that has a powerful influence on success or failure in America. You know, the white system created by whites for whites, administered by whites, just works for whites. You know, and I got the same intellectual, mental ability, physical ability as a male, and all this stuff. Yet this system that says no, there's a difference. I need to uh, give more, expect less, uh, be uncompensated for labor that whites are compensated for. All these things. It's incredible. And it's very coming very apparent to me. You know, the I had a meltdown at work. Well, the uh, this particular guy, he's gone now, but he talked like that to the black people at work, never to the white folks at work. What's up with that? You know, he doesn't have a history of. It would be better if he talked like that to everyone, but only to black people. This white person in management. Hmm. Uh, racism and all that. It shows its head eventually. And I'll tell you, one of my fears. I forget where I wrote it in one of the descriptions. Is I don't want to become that which I hate. Isn't that that's the insidious nature of coming against and combating some of our issues in America. And let's take our present gun issue. There's more gun violence. Today, I'm recording this on a Sunday, and apparently Saturday we had more gun violence in Texas, mass shootings, and yeah, I'm anticipating some government response, but then does the government become some kind of fascist machine, disarming people, martial laws, and some extreme stuff can come out of this the way it's going. The public is starting to really push for some change. The danger is to become the very thing you hate. How do you disarm people who are armed? Well, you got to be armed more, right? Racism in America, you know, presenting logical, lucid arguments is good enough, but the people in power are in power. So how do you get them more out of power? You might need more power, and it can really snowball. It's a slippery slope. Do you feel what I'm saying? The black mind needs to find itself, be honest with some of this stuff uh, going on in the world. The white mind. I've argued almost a year, right? We're about 2/3 through. The thinking of the white mind. Although this is not directed at white people or any other people, it's a black forum, but it's public here, so anybody has access. But is there any concern that if I was white, to be in this position and to exercise so much freedom and privilege in the midst of society with no thought or consciousness. I'm not looking for shame. I don't want people to put on sackcloth and sit in ashes, but to have some sensitivity. I could say I feel as though my white friends have some sensitivity about that. What about? So there's enough about that. I talk about the thinking, psychology, um, how people are thinking, wherever they find themselves in this issue of race. And it's sad that it's a derived issue. I mean, it's not a real issue. I have hands, I speak, I care for family, I have values, just like anyone else, yet America has this color thing. But we created this. It's not a natural phenomenon. I think finding differences among people may be natural, but the way America's turned this color thing is that's quite a phenomenon right there. Color. Before I forget, welcome new subscribers. Forgive me for not getting back to you. I got busy. I didn't pay attention. I saw the, YouTube, Google gives me calculates stuff. So thank you for being there. Sorry I don't get with you more. I promise I'm going to catch up with all that stuff ASAP. I'm just drowning in busyness right now, which was expected. I did not expect my subscriber list go up, but welcome. Thank you if you are new. Just want to acknowledge I see the ticker increasing. Thank you. And thank you, Google. So getting back to the subject, but what is it about white people that keeps black people dead last? I hang mainly in white communities and white circumstances, and even just recently, I helped a friend move. Just me, the only black guy. Everybody else is white, and I was helping a friend, and he said, "I'll pay you a little bit, whatever." I would have done it for free, but he initiated the offer. I'm a starving student, so to speak, and can always use some help. But it's interesting, like some of the people he paid as soon as they showed up. Some of the people he paid kind of later on. But I had to remind him to pay me. It's like, wow, this white guy, I know him well, and he had a lot on his mind and stuff, but it's like, wow, I'm really sensitive to this black and white thing, and sometimes, yeah, it does creep up in the people I feel comfortable with, that it does rear its head, like, so I got to think, well, is his momentary lapse of reason motivated by color, or is he just under stress from moving? But that's part of the conversation. I have to constantly parse that out because it is alive and present in America. Had to remind him to pay. I see it. I'm sensitive to it at work. I'm showing up. I'm improving processes. I feel like I'm helping this thing run, but I'm not being compensated for that. I'm missing that because I'm stunted in that area. I'm unclear how to express these concerns and stuff like that. Although I've taken baby steps, and I'm wobbling and unbalanced, but I'm making progress in the area of like, hey, I'm a important factor in this space. Where's mine? I'm seeing everybody get theirs. Move up, step all over me and stuff. Where's mine? Enough of that. But on that note, where are blacks economically? Do we understand how money flows, where it's going, stuff like that? Are we concerned about? Should we be concerned about the tariffs, and trade deficits, and trade wars, and things like that? What does that mean? Stuff we got to be understanding about that. Moving on, starting to run out of time here. I'm inspired by a man named Dr. Claude Anderson. Read 3 of his works. That was Black History Reader, 101 Questions You Never Thought to Ask. And that was the first book I read. Just blew my mind, the facts and history that he's got in there. If you get any book, get that one. And it should move you, it motivates you to do something in the world. Black labor, white wealth, search for power and economic justice, and Dr. Anderson's national plan to empower Black America, Powernomics. You can find Dr. Anderson at powernomics.com. Behind me, you see the hashtag #US2 symbol. You find Black women coming there, supporting one another, and helping one another. Check out Black Enough, BLAGGENUF, for kind of a Black Facebook experience. If you can't find your flavor, this is the World Wide Web. Plenty of free spaces. Google's, making this happen. For me, it's do what I did, start your own. And finally, we're going to have story time. I'm sure it's a couple days. I didn't realize I made so many notes on vacation. I was pretty busy. But we're going to get back into it. It's been a long time. It's overdue. Get back into Uncle Tom's Cabin. We're going to definitely finish that work before the year is out. Very important book there. All right, today we're in Black History Reader, question 79. And the question is, who was the, 78. It is 78. Who was the most heavily decorated Black soldier in World War I? And it's pretty important. When I went to the Black History Museum down in Washington, D.C., I made a point to spend some time in the military exhibit portion, and Blacks have been a part of every military campaign since this nation was created. And we helped with westward expansion, and we helped secure our northern and southern borders. Blacks were always there. And, to a big, large degree, the system had us as cooks and laborers, and general stuff like that. But we were fighters in combat as well. Today's question about the most heavily decorated Black soldier in World War I, it's a first, keeping up with our first of the month. But it's a first to demonstrate that Black people are warriors, ready to fight and all this. And you'll hear in history, especially in media on the TV, where it says, Black soldier is incompetent, afraid to fight, and all that stuff. I think is it the movie Gettysburg. Denzel Washington is in it, and Morgan Freeman. But where there's a Black regiment, that in the end they attack the fort, but they all get slaughtered and stuff like that. But blacks are fighters. Again, like this thinking that the color of our skin impacts our performance, our values, and things like that. As though we are some different kind of human being on the earth. Somehow we got to destroy that myth, because it prevails. It's insidious. It's everywhere. So blacks were included every war, every engagement, every military advance in this land since America was created. But today we're going to look at a guy named Sergeant Henry Johnson, Winston-Salem, born 1891. Do not have the date of his death. But he was part of the National Guard when he moved up to New York. He became part of the National Guard. He was part of a group called the Harlem Hellfighters, and that organization was pressed into service with the 369th, I forget how they call it, division or whatever, and they went to France now to fight. Although even then, the blacks were cooks, guards, general labor and stuff like that. They were armed and stuff like that, but they weren't, primary fighters. If you're familiar with Roots 2, to see Alex Haley's ancestors and stuff like that fighting in the trenches in World War One, being gassed, knowing how to put on a mask and stuff like that, and stuff. That could be that could be speaking directly to what we're talking about today, as far as blacks doing actual fighting. Now, although Henry Johnson, his this this distinguished medal that he got from France. Actually, he didn't get it from the United States. The Croix de Guerre was it's France's highest award for heroism, and he got that because somehow he didn't get ambushed, but he just sometimes just the fight just comes to you. But he was just a small group of Germans, and him were in the same space, and so he killed a couple of them, seriously injured a few others. In the midst, he rescued one of his other comrades, and was recognized for all that. That's significant, right? He's there. They got the black folks, black men, right, digging ditches. World War One is trench warfare, so they're probably digging ditches, guard duty and stuff like that. But you got a guy like a black Rambo and stuff, taking out platoons and stuff. So this guy, he came with his A game in World War One, fighting Germans and whatnot. He got home. He lived through the war. Got home. Had a parade. Little parade, probably in Harlem or somewhere. I think it was in Albany. But he got his little parade and stuff like that. Not bad. But he got back, but America was just closed. It's just late 1917, 18 is the war happening, early 20s, and so America was still that way. And so you got this war hero, but the best job he can get is to be a porter. He gets a porter salary. Look up a movie called A Man Named George, A Man Called George, or whatever. It's about the Pullman porters, and all of the black ones, the black men, they were called George. If you were on this train, you could just say, "Hey, George," and the black porter would know that you're talking to him. They were all named George. So that's probably where he ended up, from so much popularity, success, recognition, but it still did not propel him to greater heights, as his white contemporaries probably did, right? The war, come back with medals, recognition, military and stuff. It's distinguished. Just rise up. You see it in the movies all the time. Look around you. You see people, white folks who did well in the war. That's part of something they add to their resume, and it helps propel them upwards. It opens doors in America and whatnot. Not so. for Henry Johnson. You know, we're not surprised because it's a sign of the times and all that, but we're talking about, you know, America's hypocrisy, resistance, blindness, ignorance, things like that, toward an individual with a different skin color, you know. And so he did not rise up. It didn't give him a nice office job or anything. You know, the poor guy came back and found these doors closed. Now, he died alcoholic, poor, uh, but you wonder, you know, how this closed America contributed um, uh, to some of the mental sufferings that he had to go to, and that people, black people, had to experience at this time, you know, through American history. You know, always navigating these uh, white American hurdles, always being encumbered by them. Navigating obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, and it just never ends. This had to be, uh, you know, this had to be some contributing factors to the challenges he encountered in America, and you know, contributed, you know, to just casting off his life, you know, letting it go. You know, what's the use? What's the purpose? You know I feel like that sometimes, man. Like, you know, I'm at the point, you know, I'm pressured in school now and stuff. And it's like, and now that my mind is clear enough, I'm realizing how much and how long I've been diverted and moved around, manipulated in so many ways by so many pieces of the American system. It's mind-boggling, the level uh, of intrusion and encumbrance that I feel in the system. You know, and I you know, relate with Henry Johnson. You know, and he was a sergeant. He got some rank, got some stripes, hard to get in the army. You know, as segregated as it may have been. You know, but he got that, and then he comes back and, you know, I'm sure he watches white men with the same stripes. You know, the stripes are an indicator, you know, of the consistency and skill. His skill is equal to the white man's skill. So why doesn't he progress like his white counterparts? You know, these things, you know, that enigma, I'm sure, has assaulted the black mind in this country, you know, from time immemorial. I'm sure. So he's trying to navigate that. So he's turned to alcoholism. The job, it's a nowhere job, nothing job. You know, who knows what his real gifts were? You know, this country is really notorious for that, all over the place. You know, how many great minds has this country just cast off? Uh, you know, with extreme prejudice and callousness. So here's Henry Johnson, died poor alcoholic. He was buried in Arlington. You know, the military kind of did step up on that, but he didn't get a ceremony. It says he's died without ceremony, or buried without ceremony in Arlington there, and it's the best the country could do for me. I went to another country and represented. And this is just to speak to America's ceiling on black progress. So there's a lot of groups talk about glass ceilings and stuff like that. There's still very much and very a whole lot of reasons for black people to struggle because there are barriers, obstacles, encumbrances to black success, even in the midst of black people doing over and above what they're asked to do in this country. I'm Tomlin's Nyback. That's a good look at a great man, great black man in America for our first of the month, although it's the second. Sergeant Henry Johnson. Come back tomorrow. Let's see what kind of issues we can parse through and try to focus and begin looking at our motivation, where we're at, what we want to be here in America. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.